My roommate convinced me to join her spicy social gathering, and a year later, the friends I made that night wrecked my relationship and turned dinner with my parents into a full-blown ambush. My 22M roommate, 22F, who I've been sharing an apartment with for the past 6 months, approached me a few weeks ago to discuss the possibility of hosting a group love-making party. I can imagine most people in my situation being surprised or disturbed or whatever if their roommate asked for permission to allow random people to be intimate in their personal space. I was not too surprised or disturbed because 6 months has been more than enough time for me to realize that my roommate is an extremely intimate person and she's not shy about showing it. I still have my V card. My roommate is aware of that, and even though from time to time she teases me about it, she's never made me feel bad and always seemed proud of me for being so chilled about lovemaking. Back to the group lovemaking. My roommate asked if it was okay if it could happen at our apartment. She said 7 people were expected to participate, all friends, and she would be the 8th. She answered all of my questions regarding the logistics and promised to leave the place spotless when it was over. To be honest, I didn't really care as long as no one did anything in my room or touched my gaming console. My roommate was over the moon when I said yes. I arranged to sleep at my mom's house on the night of the orgy to avoid any awkwardness, which made my roommate feel somewhat guilty for kicking me out, but I encouraged her to focus on the fucking because I'll be focusing on my mom's good cooking lol. A few days after that conversation, my roommate asked if I was interested in taking part in the orgy. I said if this was about me staying at my mom's house for one night, she really shouldn't feel bad. My roommate said it's not only about that, but also about hospitality. She said the group agreed that I was more than welcome to join if I wanted. I laughed and said, thanks but no thanks. My roommate advised me to think about it and said I should keep in mind that a guy with his V card would be very hot for the group and I would most likely receive special treatment. She also added that before I made a final decision, I should forget what I've seen in movies or adult videos and therefore should not be expecting everyone to have 10 out of 10 bodies. I said I would think about it. The deed is happening tonight. I eventually agreed to participate. It wasn't a quick decision. I did have time. It's been weeks of talking. I've been added to the group chat for this little event. Everyone in the group has been welcoming and open to answering my questions. A big topic of discussion was boundaries. At one point it felt like I was doing an Ask Me Anything because everyone was asking me what I was comfortable and uncomfortable with. Not gonna lie, I'm getting more and more overwhelmed and I'm beginning to stress out. As helpful and supportive as my roommate and the others have been, I need to ask all of you to weigh in. Should I be excited or should I be nervous? Update, same post. The night finally arrived, and everything was set in motion. By the time I sat down to write this update, the event had wrapped up less than 2 hours ago. It's been a whirlwind of emotions, and I'm still processing it all. Earlier in the evening, I helped my roommate set up the apartment. She went all out, transforming the space with scented candles, towels, water, and other essentials to ensure everything was prepared. The room had such a different vibe by the time she was done that it hardly felt like the same apartment. During the setup, she took the time to run me through everything one last time, emphasizing that I should never feel pressured to do anything I wasn't comfortable with. She made it clear that my boundaries were the priority. The group started arriving shortly after, and we spent some time socializing. They were all friendly and curious about how I was feeling, which helped calm my nerves a bit. As we talked, I realized I was particularly drawn to one of the women in the group. She had this short, edgy haircut that caught my eye. Still, everyone was warm and approachable, which made the atmosphere a lot less intimidating than I'd expected. When the introductions were done, my roommate went over the ground rules in safe words. She even made a joke about how I'd skipped my mom's cooking to be there, so they'd better treat me with extra care and appreciation. Everyone laughed, which lightened the mood even more. Before anything intimate began, there was another meeting. Boundaries were revisited, questions were answered, and past challenges within the group were addressed. It was like a team huddle before a big game, everyone on the same page, ensuring a safe and respectful environment. One interesting concept they introduced was conversational intimacy, where people could engage in playful or flirtatious conversations without feeling pressured to escalate physically. It felt reassuring to have so many options and no expectations. When the meeting ended, my roommate stayed by my side, offering guidance and support. As the others began to pair off, she and I sat on the couch, holding hands and exchanging compliments. It was sweet, and eventually, we shared a kiss. I'm not sure how long we kissed, but when we stopped, I noticed the energy in the room had shifted. Some people had shed their layers, and things were becoming more physical around us. That's when it hit me. Seeing so much happening all at once felt overwhelming. I told my roommate how I was feeling, and she immediately suggested we step out onto the balcony for some fresh air. It was a much-needed break, and while we were out there, the short-haired girl I'd been attracted to earlier joined us. She asked how I was doing, and we talked for a bit. Their support and patience helped me regain some confidence, and I decided to continue. Back inside, the short-haired girl and I became more involved. She was attentive and considerate, but despite her efforts, my nerves got the better of me. I couldn't fully relax, and after a while, I decided it was best to call it a night. I apologized to the group, explaining that it wasn't anyone's fault and that I just needed some space. They were all incredibly understanding and wished me a good night. Now, I'm back in my room, reflecting on the night. The apartment is quiet, and I'm not sure who stayed over or left, but I'll figure that out in the morning. While things didn't go as planned, I have no regrets. Tonight taught me a lot about myself, and I'm sure the right moment will come eventually. For now, I'm content with taking things at my own pace. The end. Time to get some sleep. Thanks again to everyone who offered advice. OP makes a post 1 year later. Today I messed up by telling my girlfriend, 22, how I, 23M, met my friends. A couple of nights ago my girlfriend was supposed to meet my friends. I've been delaying the process for months because I knew I had to have an uncomfortable conversation first. I met my friends at a group love-making party. My roommate at the time asked for my permission to host one at our flat. I said yes, as long as my room and my belongings were off limits and the flat was cleaned properly afterwards. My plan was to spend the night at my mom's house and be out of everyone's way during the orgy, but my roommate encouraged me to stay and participate. I still had my V card back then. The thought of sleeping with one person was overwhelming enough, let alone a group of people. However, my roommate eventually convinced me to take part. I was added to a group chat with all the people who were going to be involved. All of them made me feel really comfortable. That being said, when the deed finally happened, I was unable to be intimate with anyone. My anxiety won. Everyone was understanding though. Life went on. My roommate became my ex-roommate after a few months, but we never stopped being friends. The connections I made with the people at the party also developed into friendships. We're still friends now. My GF didn't know my history with them until earlier this week when I finally had the courage to explain the wild story. She was shocked and disturbed and asked if I lied to her about having my V card when we met. I said no. She struggled to believe that a guy with his V card would walk away from this kind of party with his V card still intact. My girlfriend made it clear that she was no longer interested in meeting my friends. She said she didn't know how she could be in a relationship with someone who was friends with people who shared him. I asked my girlfriend if she was breaking up with me and she said she was going to need some time to decide what to do. Last night she decided. Our relationship is over. Edit. I never went all the way at this party, but I did end up kissing my roommate and another girl did go down on me. I didn't leave out that information to make my girlfriend look like the villain, at least not intentionally. This is my mess up after all. It's understandable that my girlfriend is uncomfortable with my past because my past is still part of my present due to the friends I have. Update. 1 week later, my mom and dad invited me to have dinner at their house a few nights ago. I was planning to inform them about my breakup during dinner, but I realized it was too late when I showed up at the house. My parents were already informed. The dinner invitation was a smokescreen to confront me about the details. My ex-girlfriend apparently broke the news to my mom and dad soon after our relationship came to an end. My parents knew about the group love-making party, the friends I made at the party, and why my girlfriend no longer wanted anything to do with me. It was an ambush. Or an intervention. I don't know. But it was awkward. My mom wanted me to make her believe that my ex-girlfriend lied and that I never participated in group love-making. I confirmed what my ex-GF said was true. My mom looked disturbed and asked if I got tested. I assured her that I was clean and that it's almost been a year since the party. My dad looked equally disturbed and asked if I was really friends with people who openly share their bodies like that. I said yes and described them as good friends. I even told my dad that one of my friends who openly shared her body also openly shared her homemade lasagna that my dad enjoyed eating when he was sick. I asked my mom if she remembered the DJ with the tattoos that stepped in at the last minute at my sister's wedding because the original DJ dropped out. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she remembered the DJ playing some of her favorite golden oldies like Flashdance. What a Feeling and Stand By Me. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she could guess how it came to be that I knew that DJ. My mom said oh. I told my parents not to worry about me and advised them to avoid communicating with my ex-girlfriend because whatever was happening between us, was between us. Towards the end of the dinner, my mom and dad knew a lot more about my group love-making friends and seemed less uncomfortable. I think once the shock of me being involved in a group love-making party fades away, my parents might be keen to meet my friends one day. Hopefully the day never comes though lol.